Hello, everyone. It's Wednesday, and we're streaming because tonight we are finishing The Evil Within 2. Not too much left. I mean, this has been a long chapter. I would be shocked if there was much more after what's probably a boss fight after this save point, and we're gonna move right into the rest of the game. So, as always, if this is not your first time, during the credits during any game, pending no cutscenes, of course, we are going to just, do a quick review, which could be a long review, depends on how much we have to talk about. But yeah, final thoughts, always coming after tonight. So let's get started. Okay. Let's do a quick ammo check. Let's do 2 more of those. Never hurts to have more healing. Never hurts to have more explosives. Never hurts to have more of those. Actually, we're gonna hold on shotguns because for just 2 more, it's better to have sniper rifle versus a shotgun. Honestly, we're at that point. Same thing for the pistol. Like, it's if we come across handgun bullets, great. If not, it's not worth crafting them. Hey Griffin, how's it going? Quiet Night, the best kind? Nice. Hey Umbra. Alright, first things we're doing a quick weapons recheck because, let's be real, once we go in this elevator, it smells, it stinks of boss fight. And I'm thinking we've been ignoring the pistol for literally this entire game. And I'm thinking, I wonder if it's time where we do it, because all of our big boy weapons are maxed out in terms of damage. So in terms of like raw damage, it's good, but when it comes down to it, pistol's gonna matter just a little bit too. I think we throw a little love. Just a little love. Because remember in the fire, like it kept giving us constantly pistol ammo, but our pistol was just so garbage. So yeah. We're giving just a little bit of love. Just a little bit. But yeah, tonight should be the finale. I'm trying to remember how the first one ended. I remember you really don't confront Ruvik that much. He basically, like, you went into like his mind, and I think the game like gave you a rocket launcher. You're basically fighting a giant pseudo tentacle nightmare version of Ruvik in space. Not literally space, but it was like kind of like a just weird dream-like, almost zero G area. It actually was kind of a gimme battle. Alright. Got harpoon bolts, pistol. Shotgun. Alright, let's see what we got. And I'm thinking back, like... Because Theodore doesn't strike me as like a turn into a monster type. He probably might throw some like thralls our way. Pretty tired? Rough day? Oof, well happy Wednesday then. And happy Veterans Day for anybody to whom that's relevant to. Not to get into any personal beliefs, but I do personally believe in a strong military. It's one of those things where you always hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. You know, don't necessarily start fights, but be ready to finish them. What was that thing they said in Thor? The MCU Thor movies? Like, don't... Something about, like, don't start a war, but always be expected to have one arrive at your door. Something like that. I don't know. Thank you for the harpoon bolt. When the game gives you a harpoon bolt, you know it's going to go down. If this doesn't scream boss arena, I don't know what does. Let's be real. This is going to be one of those where we kite the boss. Looks like there's a ladder up there in case we fall down. No, actually, no, we were here before. This is where we got flushed out the blood sewer. Still, this looks like a boss arena for something big to chase us. $12 gunpowder. I mean, yeah. It's telling us, yo, there's gonna be something big chasing you here. But yeah. Appreciate everyone who served or knows somebody that has. It isn't easy. And it's not something everyone can do. And obviously not something everybody does do. Nothing here. I'm not going down there to find out if there's anything in there. We have all the angel statues, so I'm not worried about it. Mr. Castellanos.
If it's a taste of despair you wish, a taste of despair you shall receive.
Shall I give you despair? Ah, it's fire.
You did this to me, Dad.
It's an illusion, it's not her.
You didn't save me.
This is just Sebastian's version of how he sees Lily. I'm almost positive at this point that Lily's the ghost lady.
It's okay, sweetie. I'm gonna make it right again. I love you so much, Lily. I always have. And I always will. And I'm gonna save you this time. I promise.
I see you've overcome some of your guilt and pain.
His friends are his power.
Of your past traumas is vast.
All his friends
I
died.
know everything about you. I know what lies beneath. You have a deep well of fear from which to draw. You've seen many horrors, and they still haunt your memories.
Yeah, his waifus are his power.
Remember where this all began. Remember Beacon.
I think it's funny, Umbra, that chat tagged your waifu spelling as like a potentially offensive word. I'm like, that is not in no way offensive. That's interesting. That's part of the... Oh, wait, hold on. Are we going to fight the Evil Within 1 bosses? Son of a bitch, we are, aren't we? Chapter 3, Chainsaw Man. Oh, we have infinite stamina.
What? Enough of this shit.
He's beginning to believe. Nice. That's how you do it. He's overcome his fear. He sees the Matrix now for what it is.
Not this time.
It's actually turning into a badass. It's actually kind of cool. Ooh, we get the chainsaw now. I wonder if we get to keep it.
This will stop me.
You think this is my final form? I'm not trapped in here with you. You're trapped in here with me. It's kind of comical at this point. Okay, it's a little gratuitous now.
Fuck you.
Wow, okay. Who else did we fight in the... Oh, Safehead. Or actually, what was his name? His name isn't Safehead. Everyone just called him Safehead. God, he had a name. What was his name? Wow, that staggered him pretty well. Oh wow, one bolt and one sniper rifle? Sweet. What's going on? Oh shit, there's more of them? Oh shit, there's a bunch of them. Ah! How many of them are there? Oh shit, his head's bulletproof. I guess that makes sense. If I recall correctly, the Keeper. Thank you, Keeper. I used to have a little vinyl figure of the Keeper, but he fell over and his mallet broke. The Keeper in the first one was actually symbolic of Ruvik's secrets that he was trying to keep safe. What is this? Oh shit, it's Laura. Damn, they are busting out all the hits. Alright, well, fire's her weakness.
Do once, and I'll do it again.
Shit. Damn, she does a lot of damage. Oh, come on. That was a waste of a bolt. Oh, there's one. Ooh. Oh, it wants me to probably stun her and kill her the way like in the first game. Damn it, why did I do that? Really? How did that not hit her? Okay. We're gonna stun her. So this is giving us electric bolts. Clearly electric bolts work. Damn it. How does it not... Actually, wait, hold on. We have a flamethrower. She's weak to fire. Yeah, baby. Burn. Okay, so normally I don't... Oh, come on, you're not gonna let me loot the room?
What are you?
I'm your worst enemy.
What else have you got?
That's new. Oh, our wife is, the real final boss.
Myra?
She must stay safe.
Yeah, I agree. I'm here to rescue her.
Protect Lily from anyone who wants to
Ah,
take
damn it,
her.
she's crazy.
You did it. Theodore is dead. Let's go home. No!
Oh, man, really?
The power of the core is mine.
Whoa, how many surprise kills are we gonna have? That was the real fatality. You should have gone for the head. That'll teach you, Theodore.
Lily is safe now.
Where is she?
All females are Odie
Let's
for
get
a
her and
week.
get outta here.
You're not wrong. Fortunately, growing up in almost an exclusively all-female environment, between family and most work environments, where for some odd reason I kept getting transferred to almost all female crews, I have built a resistance to most estrogen-related conversations. Okay, just joking. So normally I hate boss rushes, but those three mini-bosses that were just kind of like really easy versions of their Evil Within 1 versions, I was actually okay with. And how's it going, Shadows? How's it going, Jtron? Normally I hate boss rushes, but that was a good little boss rush. It didn't overstay its welcomes. You know, they put enough little pressure on you. You know, they had claws, but they weren't like full-on bosses. Except for Laura, but Laura should appropriately have been the hardest one. They used up all my crossbow bolts. Rightfully so. But no, seriously, just a bit of background information, personal information. I am the youngest of three, and when my dad was, working like, 2 or 3 jobs basically, it was just me and my 2 sisters and my mom, so it was like I'm the only guy around. And then my mom and dad all came from big families. They were both the eldest of like 6 or 7 siblings, respectively. And each one of those aunts and uncles have had like 2 or 3 children of their own. So there's like 30 cousins I have. And here's the thing. I am the only one of 2 males in my entire generation. So it's like me, a younger cousin that's a male, and 20-something women. So every single family gathering, or when we were still in New York, or in Florida for a little bit, because a lot of them moved on to Florida to follow us, every single family gathering, every single outing, it was just me and a room full of women. because I was too young to drink, obviously, and most of the older dudes just went out and either smoked or drank or talked about sports that I didn't care about. That's how it was growing up. And then my first 4 jobs, it was an all-female staff, and I was the only dude there. So it's like I'm constantly in an environment where I'm just surrounded by women. And so you just kind of get used to it. That's why I don't really have anxiety when, like... And if like, you know, there's some dudes who are like, oh, I can't... If, like, it's not another dude in the room, I feel nervous. I'm like, trust me, man, that's, like, every day of me growing up. And I mean that both in a good and bad way. We're in the milk environment now. I guess this is the source of all the weird waxy milk that's going on.
There's almost nothing left of
This
place.
stuff that, oh, chapter 15.
Myra?
That was a fun end of the chapter. Chapter 14 started rough because we had to fight so many Flame Bros. And Flame Bros are easily my least liked enemy in this entire game. Again, not because they're hard, but because they're annoying. But finishing up with like the 1, 2, 3 Blaster in the Pass that were like, you know, kind of challenging, but also very manageable. That was cool. I like that. As long as they don't do another boss rush mode of actual bosses. Especially from this game. Like, don't have Saw Lady, Flamethrower Man, and some other dude back to back. If you do that, then I take that point away. Because I hate boss rushes. At the very end of a game, I never like that. To me, it's a lack of creativity. It's almost never done in a well-to-do way. I don't want to know guys who are uncomfortable in a scenario. There are a lot of guys who are uncomfortable in a situation where they're the only male in a female environment, and do so in like, say, a non, like, social way where it's like, oh, I go to a party, there are all these chicks around. No. This is a work environment or a family environment. Like, it's either professional or platonic or something like that.
Myra.
Most dudes can't control their chemicals and their emotions that way. Like, their testosterone for some odd reason triggers. They just can't be chill. I don't think jumping is the way answer. Silvergear, hey, how's it going? Welcome to the chat. Thanks for joining the stream. You don't think it's hormonal? You think it's social conditioning? I don't know. All I know is I call it as I see it, and I just see a lot of dudes are more uncomfortable than not when they're in a very gender biased situation, and there's way more of one gender than another. That's just simply how I see it. I don't know the psychological or social,
What is this?
anthropologic, whatever way you want to explain. I'm just calling it as I see it. And yeah, it's really just hanging out with people that just happen to be one gender that are not your own. Thank you so much, Shadows, for that resub. Appreciate the 9 months.
Myra. It's over. Let's get Lily and
Please
leave
don't turn
this
into a
place
monster that's
before
gonna
we're
try to
stuck here
kill me.
forever. We can have our family back.
I do appreciate how he's trying to fix the situation. Even though it's clear she's a weird dream monster lady.
Please. I know you're still in there.
Is she gonna turn into that weird, goopy marshmallow long neck monster?
Stop it!
Good dodge. Look at this
Have to
dude.
listen to me.
Sebastian's leveled up. Ever since he awakened his bloodline limit,
Myra, what's wrong?
he's able to just like dodge these strikes that would kill mortal men.
You gotta fight it.
I can't. I have to protect Lily.
I mean, that's what I'm trying to do.
Already dead, Myra. Stefano can't hurt her. Neither can Theodore. They're dead.
Yes. Good.
I'm gonna protect her from you. Don't say that.
I'm not leaving you in
They still
Lily
never
in this place.
explained, or maybe I missed it in a file. What is this power that Lily has that everybody's trying to keep her? That you know, her mom's trying to literally turn into a monster to protect, and everyone who knows about it's trying to, you know, take it. What is this power?
Myra! Shit. What is she trying to do?
Lily's like Ruvik. Ah. I mean, yeah, she's the core of this world. They've already established that. But, like, so what? Save point? Yeah, let's make some more bolts. We just dumped a whole lot of ammo. And we didn't exactly recover a lot of it during the fight. I should have ran around a little bit during the fight. There was weapons and free ammo, and I didn't grab any of it. Still, Harpoon Bolt putting in the work. I love you, Harpoon Bolt. Sniper rifle. You used to be such trash, and now look at you, MVP. Sinking those points when we need it. Yeah, this is a very... I'd have to go back and review the story and maybe a little bit of lore. Is this a new area? I think it is. 'Cause I don't recognize any of the restaurants. I don't even see any of the restaurants. Well, actually, now that Theodore's dead, we don't have any Flame Bros anymore to deal with. That's a good thing. Oh man, but what if we have more of those giant milk monsters? Oh gosh. Is it raining hard? Yeah, isn't it like Tropical Storm or like Hurricane Ada or something like that? That's hitting Florida. Ooh. We got a new enemy now. Oh shit, we got new enemies. Please don't make them invincible to knives because they're goopy monsters.
I gotta get rid of these things. Maybe then I can get to her.
At least they died to a sneak attack. Alright, so if we can sneak them, we can kill them. I get the feeling them being weird milk zombies, there's something up with them, but I don't want to find out. We're just going to stick to what we know. Stay calm. And stab them. Just keep it simple. I constantly feel rewarded for maxing out sneak first. I feel like that has had the best return on investment. Granted, that's how I fight. I don't know how people going in with blam blam shooty shooty guns would handle this. They probably, I don't know, there might be like T-1000 reforming themselves out of milk. Are those 2 free harpoons? Yeah, they are. This might be the apology room. I hope nothing reforms out of that. Where it's like, oh, you didn't get a chance to restock all the stuff that we burned during the last fight, so here's a bunch of free ammo just lying around. Ooh, 3 shotgun shells. Speaking of Shadows TV, didn't WandaVision launch today on Disney Plus? Is it today or tomorrow? I thought it was starting today, maybe. WandaVision is a part of Phase 4 MCU, where it's a Scarlet Witch and Vision trapped in some sort of weird dimension. It's like a 6-part miniseries. So instead of giving a movie, they kind of have like a miniseries. I don't know, it looks like it could be fun and interesting. At the very least, it's going to be relevant to Phase 4, so
I hope she hasn't gone far.
that's good enough for me to watch. Nice invisible wall. Why could you not just close the buildings together? You know? It's not like I can enter this building. Just extend it instead of like giving me this long alley that Sebastian just curiously just doesn't want to go down. Come on, man.
Myra, stop!
Yeah, at least put a fence there or a giant rock or something. Lazy. Don't get lazy at the end of the game. Don't get lazy. Don't get cheap on me. Ah, shit.
Oh shit.
Exactly what I was thinking.
I don't have time for this.
I wonder if axes work on them. Okay. This is probably where the silenced pistol would actually be useful, because the silenced pistol, you can peg one of them, even if they're probably immune. They'll be alerted, you can split them off from a group. Ooh, I'll make it. We'll wait till after. I was gonna say, let's just freely top ourselves off. I hear something growling. Is that what these things sound like? See, I'm tempted to shoot one of them from here, but I'm also afraid to find out if they're immune to bullets. And we didn't have a checkpoint recently, so... Turn around. Turn around. Thank you. Oh shit. Oh, these fuckers are fast. Alright, we're about to find out today. Ow. Okay, so they regenerate very quickly. Parts of their bodies can become hard and bulletproof, and these fuckers are fast. So that's their shtick. They're not immune to bullets if you can kill them before they regen. So they're kind of like the white zombies from Resident Evil. Good thing I saved this handy dandy first aid kit. I still hear something though. There's something growling. I should have used that explosive barrel. Give me them shotgun shells. Okay. So don't get surrounded. These are fast zombies, and they regen. That's their shtick. Alright. Alright, checkpoint. Watch there be a meaner version come out now.
There she is.
Okay. Whoa, weird.
Oh, God.
Oh shit, that thing's... At first I thought the camera was zooming in to make it look big, but then it zoomed out and it's still big. Ouch. Alright, let's shock it. Oh, actually, wait, it's a lightning pole. I mean, clearly that big giant red thing is a weak point. Let's see if we can freeze it and snipe it for max damage. That was a miss. Oof. Yeah, there we go. Wait, is it dead? Oh, it was just juking us. Here's what I do. I'm just gonna put this over the pistol slot because we use this so often.
Please let that be the last of it.
That is some good old-fashioned video game logic. Ooh, 10,000. Nice. Shoot for the giant glowing red weak point. Oh, look at all the shotgun ammo. I probably should be smarter in using these traps. Still, freeze bolt, that was worth freeze bolts. That was worth it. Ooh, smoke bolt. I should use those more often. Hey Zaku, how's it going tonight? Tired. Tired from selling consoles or tired from playing so many hours of Beyond Light? Because I know you're not going to be here. I know you're just visiting. Because I'm like, don't you have a raid to get ready for? You 12:30 yet? I have to say, though, and Shadows or anyone else playing D2, I just spent like a couple of hours, you know, leveling up this morning and yesterday. And, you know, I got all three of my characters to 1200. It was so fast leveling from 1050 to 1200 compared to starting a new character and going from 750 to 1050. It was so fast. And I actually appreciate that. Also, I love the new shop for getting the pinnacle weapons. Granted, a lot of them are obsolete now.
Myra!
Or the old exotics.
Where are you going?
Like I have my first exotic
You hurt Lily.
engram, and I want to spend it on Truth because I never did Menagerie because I can afford it. I know you're probably thinking get Anarchy, but I'm like, I don't have 240 raid tokens. At least I can afford to get Truth now.
I told you to leave.
Yeah, if you weren't 1050 before, you get to be 1050 now. So Myra's obviously in conflict with herself. There's a part of her who still wants to stay human, and there's a part of her that wants to be attached to this world and protect Lily from literally everything and everyone, including Sebastian. So there's an internal conflict here, as well as an obvious external conflict. Trying to finish some Shadowkeep. Yeah, I only did the first couple of missions for the new campaign. I'll probably hack out more of it on... Maybe not tomorrow, because I need to do editing tomorrow. I need to be a good boy. I'm not trying to be raid ready like Zaku here. But alright, good luck, Zaku. May the drops be with you.
Can't let her take Lily.
Is this snow or is this ash? Or does it even matter at this point?
Is that our house? She must be there. I can't stop now.
Ooh, chapter 16. We're getting there. So this is Limbo. This hole is symbolic of the gaping hole in the relationship he had as a father. Alright, designers, please don't put a white indicator over a white background. It's really not helpful. How come it's not letting me lock on the resonance? Oh.
Their guard is down. Union is running so smoothly that they're not monitoring it as closely. It's now or never.
We should be able to free Lily before they know we're there. Once she's out, we'll be as good as invisible.
Are you sure about this, Theodore? Someone as high-ranking as you. If you get caught,
I've made my decision, Kidman. I can no longer stand idly by while they use that poor girl for their selfish needs.
This is the most amount of music I've heard in this game.
Esmeralda in. Esmeralda is in Union and waiting for instruction.
Let's go, Myra. It's time.
Are you sure about this, Myra? Once you become the core, you'll be... I know. But if I don't, they'll
Oh, I
just
see.
hunt Lily down
So Myra's the core.
inside. I can't let that happen. Just promise me you'll get Lily
Or at least a
back
core.
when this is all over. I promise, Myra. I guess this is goodbye.
Myra was planning on becoming the core? Why?
What is this?
There she is. Quickly,
This feels like
take
the
her left.
exposition chapter.
What are you doing?
Did you really think I was going to let you destroy Mobius? They may be short-sighted, but they're far too valuable to me. When I control them, when I control STEM, only then will they reach their full potential. Now, give her to me.
Ah, they were betrayed.
My dead body.
If that's the way you want it.
That's when it happened. When this place started to fall apart.
Oh, it's my office. Is this actually a save point? It's a shame I didn't get all the collectibles. But at least I got the franchises that were good. Well, most of them. Mixed results. By the way, Shadows, we were talking about it earlier, and Phil Spencer came out on social media today and basically said any rumors of Japanese studios that claim they were being made offers from Microsoft are not true. And so there's kind of a debate and conspiracy theory because there's a lot of smaller studios that came out and were saying that, oh, Microsoft approached them with an offer for acquisition. And Phil Spencer saying, no, that's true. It's interesting because it can be either way. There are lots of quiet behind the scenes back alley deals that go by that we never hear. Because quite frankly, until the ink's dry, it's really not prudent to disclose any like mergers or acquisitions. Because until that ink's dry, nothing's official. But it is still true that, you know, Xbox definitely wants to have a footprint in the East, and it's really hard to wedge yourself in there, but they are persistent, and I think that persistence and a truckload of money will get them in somewhere. Especially with times being tough right now.
What can I help you with, Detective?
One last conversation. What do you got to say to me?
I'm afraid that this will be the last time I can help you. I feel the end approaching.
You've been here for me the whole time. Both times.
Maybe I've been with you longer than that.
What do you mean? Who are you?
I'm who I've always been. I'm who I'll always be. I'm who you turn to when you need inner strength, and you need me now more than ever.
And when this is all over?
When this is all over, you won't need me again.
Because this will be over? Or because I'll be dead?
The same answer applies either way. Now, let's get you ready.
Tatiana proves she is best girl. She is in fact the strongest waifu. Exactly, Umbra. Other waifus have come by in this game, but they have all perished, but only Tatiana remains. Again, I suspect that the USB drive Kidman plugged in the person who she said was on the inside that would help him out, I'm almost positive it's got to be Tatiana. I really wish we saved up and got more for bullet time, because bullet time seemed like it would have been useful. I don't know how long the time is for bullet cascade, though. Like, how rapid do you have to rapidly fire? Oh well. If we get anything, might as well be this. This will probably be good with the semi-auto. Don't need bullet time, just aim faster. I mean, it hasn't really been an issue, to be honest with you. We haven't really needed bullet time. When we needed that dude to slow down, we just froze him.
How am I ever going to get these nails?
Alright. She's the best. Okay. We're almost full up on handgun ammo, surprisingly. Shotgun, we're almost full up. Sniper rifle can... A few more never hurt. Assault rifle is a waste of time. Flamethrower, I don't think is going to be useful, because I don't want to be that close to any... Unless the flamethrower was able to throw fireballs like those dudes were, then maybe. But throwing a Hadouken is kind of hard right now. Otherwise, we're topped up on this. We have that. I think we're pretty good. I think we're good. Whatever we're about to face. We'll just bank everything else. Alright. They're playing the sad violins, so you know there's going to be some finale coming up. Damn, we might end super early. I didn't plan on that. I was super tired yesterday anyway. I couldn't have gone on for too much longer. Oh, I went there by habit, but that's not the way we go out.
Let's hear you talk your way out of hell, Wallace. Didn't want to kill him, but Theodore left me no choice. I'll never forget the sacrifice you made, Hoffman. I told you to be careful with that thing, Sykes. Hope you made it out.
Okay. Let's do this.
Run, Lily. Hide. I'll find you. I promise.
What do you think you're doing, Myra?
I'm
Does that mean we get an extra long review, opinion, tangent discussion when you finish?
The power she commands, you don't understand.
Depends on how much we want to talk about.
You don't
I mean, if you guys also, like I say, I always field questions too, so if you guys have anything on your mind, feel free to ask.
You can't run from me.
I have a big old jug of water right here, ready for my oration.
But now you're putting her in danger.
I almost got all the memories too. I'm willing to bet the last couple that I missed were during chapter 4 when I just noped out of town and I did 0 exploration. That's probably where I missed all my extra stuff.
Is it you?
Sebastian.
She still looks older in her human form.
Why are you fighting me, Myra?
You don't understand. This is our new home. Lily will be safe here. Happy. Free from fear. Free from pain.
No, Myra. This isn't real.
They really want to
Pain is
close
part
up on
of
his
real
beard.
life.
I'm not sure why.
So is love. If she stays in here, she won't live a life free from fear. Because she won't be living a life at all.
You don't understand. The things they did to her.
Do you prefer Pop-Tarts to toaster strudel? The correct answer is Bossman is wrong.
No.
I actually
Please,
kind of
let me
agree with
take her out of
Bossman,
here. Let's
but
do
not
it
for the
together.
reasons he
We can
states.
be a family again.
I do prefer Pop-Tarts over toaster strudel any day of the week.
No! I won't let anyone take her from me!
No. Please, Myra. We still have time.
Oh, I don't want
We
to
can
fight her.
leave. I am not gonna leave Lily here. Please.
Anyone who tries must die!
Don't make me do this!
Now she's gonna turn into a bigger monster. Yep. Is she gonna turn into the giant, weird, long-necked milk monster? Nope, she's just a giant Zambo.
My God.
The fuck? Oh shit, we're in this.
You hurt me. You'll hurt her too. I won't.
On my crouch.
God damn it, Myra! Stop this! Think about what you're doing!
Oh, come on, don't do that.
I don't want to do this to you, Myra!
The fuck is that? This is where I should have had a flamethrower. Oh wait, I can stomp these. Oh, they give me supplies. Oh, okay, cool. Get over here.
Stop me! Please, Myra! I know you're still in there!
Oof.
Gotta stop!
Alright, shoulder. She got 2 shoulders. Well, of course she has 2 shoulders. She has 2 weak points on those shoulders. Look this way. Stomp this way. I don't know if I can hit from back here. I don't know if that did anything. You know what? We're going for explosive bolts. This is clearly endgame. Oh, come on. Oh, shockwave.
Protect Lily.
Yeah, that was a lucky hit. Oh, that's weird. Ah, shit. Oh, shit. Oh, bullet cascade. Cool. Popping in. Whoa. There's some Dead Space stuff over here.
I don't want to do this.
Did I miss? I missed. Stay still. Oh, that's different. I don't see glowy parts anymore. Ow. This is pretty much Dead Space. That was a miss. Is that hand gonna come back after me?
I must protect Lily.
I'm gonna sneak. Hit her with a knife. Oops. That was a whiff. Alright, Frostbolt, I choose you. Nice. That was super effective. Please be. Are you a multi-phase boss? Is this what's happening? Biohazard. Stab it in the eye with your knife. Actually, we didn't finish this fight with a rocket launcher. It's truly not Resident Evil. And she's melting. Yeah, I don't know if a helicopter pilot died. It's hard to tell. None of the STEM officials identify themselves as helicopter pilots, so debatable. And Tatiana proves she is still the strongest waifu. But where's Lily? Watch her not even be in the house.
Myra.
Hey, awesome one, you came in right when we're finishing the final boss. I think. Was this chapter 16 or 17? She comes alive. Blah.
Myra. Please. I'm so sorry. I didn't want to.
No. I couldn't control myself. You did the right thing. Thank you. I'm so glad you're alive. You have to take Lily. Get her out of here.
She says that like I didn't just tell her that's what I was going to do.
I'm getting us all out of here.
See, you're not listening to me. This is the reason why we couldn't stay together.
It's too far. Leave me. Just get Lily. Leave me.
No, I won't leave you again.
You have to. Go. I'll follow. I'll meet you there. Lily needs you now. Please, hurry.
Yeah, listening was never her strong point, Silvergear. It's like, I just told you, hey, I need to take Lily, I need to stop Mobius, and I'm gonna take her out of that house, and then you had a literal meltdown with your giant candle monster, and then once we finish our argument, then you're like, hey, I think you should take Lily, destroy Mobius, and take her out of the house. Like, what did we just go through this for? My gosh. In other words, this is a very accurate telling of actual, marital discussions.
Gotta get to the house.
Here we go, final chapter. And of course she has to be a drama queen at the very end of it. Ah, just go on without me. You can follow me. You're not an evil candle monster anymore. You could I can carry you, or you can piggyback, you're right. Isn't this your dream world? You probably weigh nothing, right? He just takes the truck. He's like, my old truck. I love this truck. He gets off and he drives away, the happiest man. That's actually what this entire journey was for, was just getting his truck back.
No.
After his wife took his truck,
House.
he was never the same man. Sebastian Castellano. He got his truck back.
Please be safe, Lily.
Why is this... There was something collectible over there to the right. Yeah, it looked like an old Cherokee.
We've reestablished contact, sir.
Where is
He's like, Lily was the name of my
Can't get
truck.
an exact location.
Lily was the name of our daughter. Yeah, I named my daughter after my truck.
The core's been located. The marker is approaching her.
excellent? Instruct the marker on how to reestablish the core.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, sir, but it's too late.
I am evil
The
corporate
environment
man
is taking
in a
too much
suit.
damage. Even with the core back in place, total collapse of Union is imminent.
still have STEM. We can start again.
He looks like the generic
We
bad
need the
guy.
core. She's too valuable to abandon. Have the med team prepare for core extraction. How much time?
Depends on how fast he can get her to the extraction point. They're close. Shouldn't be long. Med team in place and standing by.
Once extracted, have the med team terminate the marker. He served his purpose.
Yes, sir.
Kid, call your man and give him instructions.
Well, I guess this is it, kid.
Shoot him. Turn around and shoot him in the face.
Did you hear me?
Yeah, I did.
Is that insubordination I'm sensing?
You can't kill him.
Yes, we can, and we will. Once he's back in the real world, he'll become a liability. Now, call him and tell him where the extraction point is.
Yeah, here we go.
Come now, kid. He signed his death sentence the moment he entered STEM. Now, do as I've ordered, or you'll be signing yours as
This
well.
guy is such a generic last-minute nameless boss. He doesn't even have a name right now.
A shame that you'd attempt to betray us. I had such hope for you.
He was in 2 of the first game's DLCs. See, that's just it. I don't remember either of the first 2 DLCs. The one where you play as the Keeper and the other one where you play as Kidman. I literally do not remember them at all. Oh, whoa, hello. I didn't expect something like this. Alright, well, I'm Kidman. We ain't about stealth.
Damn it!
Oh, I have infinite bullets. Cool. Her aiming sensitivity is very high. I guess she has a very delicate touch.
All security personnel report to the control room. All security
Need to
personnel.
hurry before more show up.
I like this version of Jill Valentine. Let's go, Super Cop. Interesting.
Lily! She's gotta be in her room upstairs.
I saw something shining here. Yeah, there we go. Hey, that's the exact toy that I had. I literally had a little vinyl figure that looked exactly like that. Actually, he was holding the mallet in his right hand, I think. It's been a while. Like I said, it fell over and the mallet broke off. I need to glue it back. But yeah, I actually literally had a little vinyl figure that looked exactly like that. I loved it. I need to see if I could just buy it somewhere. It was like $6. It was a little tiny vinyl figure. I like that. That's cool. Okay, so this is kind of weird. I don't know about you, but I don't know of most convection ovens that have a handle on the very bottom. Like you lift it up, like some sort of DeLorean door. That is so weird. Clearly a lot of alcohol going around. I don't think that's all olive oil. Alright, we got a banana. A little rolling tray, that's kind of cool. Look at all these mixing bowls. I guess they like to bake and cook here. Nice double sink. Very wide side sink, though. Gas stove. Nice. Very small, though, but, you know. Clearly old-fashioned, you know, because even the oven uses a dial. It's not very modern. Spice cabinet. Nice. Coffee machine. Classic. Fruit basket. Bread basket. Bread baskets usually shouldn't be so close to exposed lighting, though, because that way your bread's going to get mold. And that's it for your kitchen tour. Thank you so much for jumping on the stream. I'm Oni Black Mage here to review all in-game kitchens. I see the way they like to have their table is, you know... First of all, 5 chairs is weird. Where'd that 6th chair go? I guess they don't have a captain's chair anywhere. I guess you... I wouldn't have these two over here. I'd put these two on the side. Well, maybe not one over here, because that drawer would get in the way. Unless it's hidden away, like right there, in that double door. I don't see a dishwasher. So they might just, you know, again, this is an old style range, and a convection oven they don't even make anymore, so... It's weird that it lets me draw my sniper rifle in certain spots, but I can't change weapons. Let's check out what's been reading. Interior now. You know, maybe he was actually in the middle of renovating. Come to think of it. This is that hidden lore that we're talking about. I think these guys are trying to spruce up the place. Maybe they bought it. It was kind of an older place. They were going to renovate it. Makes sense to me. What would you rate this kitchen? Because I feel this is... I think they were... Well, look at these countertops, though. The granite countertop. That itself is really nice. So there's a granite countertop right there. This sink, I love. That type of faucet system is nice. It all needs to be modernized, though. Also, when you have your fridge too close to the wall there, you're asking your door handles to get busted and dent up this wall. It's better than freestanding. Actually, no, he has a gap there, so they know what they're doing. Okay, so fridge is in a good spot. The counter space is great. You know, obviously it's a little cluttered because they, you know, needed to mess up. But I love this amount of cabinet space. This is a great amount of cabinet space. Not very deep, though. I've seen deeper cabinets. If it could go out another 4 inches, I think that'd be nice. But it's pretty good. The amount of space that you have down here for these granite countertops, for the amount of pots and pans you'd be having, that's pretty good. This is a good-sized kitchen. I like the square footage. Them putting their dining table here is the most appropriate choice. They clearly decided to prioritize the open setting. This sort of open sort of layout is great for people that like to socialize and entertain. Do the items repeat? Yes and no. I mean, he has another set of flour and sugar when he clearly has one over here. But, you know, the classic window in front of the kitchen is good. I am concerned about their ventilation, though. One thing you will notice is over here on both the stove and the microwave, there is no external ventilation. I don't like that. That means this kitchen probably gets very, very hot anytime anybody cooks anything. And there's no ventilation system, so if you cook anything that has an odor, it's going to linger in this area, like, forever. So I think that's the reason why Sebastian came back to this house to help renovate it. So, it's an older style kitchen. Clearly they were in the middle of planning renovations, but the potential for this area is fantastic. Cabinets I would leave, countertops I would leave, sink I would leave. There just needs to be an auxiliary system built for heating ventilation, and I would scooch this table out just a little bit more. But it's nice. It's cute. It looks good. No fire extinguisher, smoke detectors. I mean, yeah, I don't really see smoke detectors here either, but like I said, it's an older house. I think they were in the middle of remodeling. But other than that, this is a good kitchen. If this wasn't such an open layout plan, or perhaps if this could have been a dining room, we could have put the table out here and had a center island. That would have been really nice. Then this kitchen would have been top tier. If you put a center island right here with a granite countertop, maybe a baking station, even better. But other than that, this is a very solid foundation. So thank you so much for reviewing the kitchen within, where we review all of the video game kitchens. Not gonna lie though, for any of you who have been watching this streams for a while, anytime I come across an in-game video game kitchen, I like to look at it. I like to review it. There's some people that know how to detail a kitchen, and there's some people that just never seen a kitchen in their life. It's like when you walk into a house and you see that they actually took time to put a bathroom in there, because I hate when you walk into a video game house and there's no such thing as a bathroom. It's like, what the hell is wrong with this? It's funny how they put so much detail in the kitchen but couldn't close the gap between those two buildings earlier. Yeah, I know, right? What the hell is this? That's, very interesting. I wonder if it's an Easter egg to something that I don't know about. Jeez, how many times do they have the same painting here? I mean, it's a pretty good drawing, don't get me wrong. Hey, it is bread. Life is butter when you're around. You know what? That's worth framing. Look at that bread. That's such a happy piece of bread. Look at that. Look at that croissant. I love that croissant. That croissant is so damn jolly. Really old European houses didn't have bathrooms. Just keep that in mind. This is American, boy. We love bathrooms. But yeah, I'm with you. This is a countryside house. It's probably pretty old. Clean yourself up, Sebastian. You're a mess. Bread basket is literally what it sounds like. Usually a basket lined with a towel. You stick bread rolls in and cover the towel to keep warm and moist. That too, but also you want to make sure you also block your fresh bread from the sun. Because if you don't, it's going to get moldy, like within a couple of days. The sun is a killer to expose bread.
You mean we're not
Like the fresher the bread, like that's how fast it goes.
so tired?
Go back to sleep. When you wake up, we'll be safe again.
But yeah, Umbra, exactly what you were saying before, the concept of just keeping bread. Bread boxes are also what a lot of people use.
I've got her. Come on. Let's get the hell out of here.
I'm sorry, Sebastian. I can't.
Yes, you can. I'll carry both of you if I have to. But I'm
No.
not...
Mobius has to be stopped.
See, we offered to help her all the way up here, but she came all the way up here on her own just to say she did it on her
Get
own.
away. Just the three of us. We'll go someplace where they'll never find us.
I have Lily,
Nowhere to hide.
and I also have the actual Lily. She's parked outside.
Lily will always be in danger. Unless I destroy them.
Okay, fine. I'll wait. Once Mobius is gone,
It doesn't work that way, Sebastian. It can only be done from inside. STEM is more
So
than
she's gonna
just
try to
a
become the
place.
core?
All of Mobius are connected to it via the chips in their heads.
Oh, interesting.
Once I assume the power of the core, I can transmit a signal just as Union collapses. A signal that can take Mobius down once and for all.
we're finally together again.
There's no other choice. This is part of the plan. It always has been.
I personally keep any of my breads in my fridge.
Myra.
It lasts so long.
Just promise to take care of the little one.
And obviously you're gonna heat up the bread if you're gonna use
Never
it for most
forget
things.
How much her mother loved her.
It's like you're throwing it in the freezer. Bread freezes also really well too. If you ever find like good bread that you want to just
So
keep
much
but
I wanna
can't eat
see.
immediately, or it's on sale, just freeze it. We're talking a lot about bread, but I feel it's a lot more interesting than what's happening right now. I don't mean to insult the game.
You don't have to say anything. I've been watching
The bread
you all
within.
this time. I know how you've suffered, what they did to you, what I did to you. You didn't ask for any of this.
I never
You've
asked for
been to
this.
hell twice for it. It's time for you to leave now. To live the life that was taken from you.
I love you, Myra.
Oh, Hawaiian bread is delicious.
Both of you. That's why
She paused a
I'm
long
doing
time
this.
before saying I love you back.
But there's
Just
no more time.
not being passive
You have
aggressive, I'm
to
just
go
pointing it
now.
out. Hawaiian bread is good. I wouldn't say it's top tier because like bread is like is like a tool set. You know, you don't use the same screwdriver for literally everything. Fuck him up, Kidman.
Warning, Alpha 1, emergency. Warning, Alpha 1, emergency.
Shit.
We got it pinned down! Shoot to kill!
We're not making this easy.
Man, she's just so damn sensitive. I'm so used to like Sebastian's lazy ass aiming. That I'm overcorrecting. Where did you throw that? Don't you know how they make boxes in this world? Nice.
Gotta get to the stem room. Just
So here's the cool thing about bread, is that bread is such a malleable substance. Like the way you knead the bread, the water that you use, the temperature that you cook it in, the temperature that you rest it at, the temperature of the water that you use, the amount of salt, the amount of sugar, the amount of flour, the type of flour, the yeast that you use. There's so many components to bread. It is like an infinitely complex subject on itself. And some people just think bread is like that, what, like, I don't know, just regular old white sandwich bread. The world of bread is so expansive. You can make a, if like Pokemon, if like, you know, bread was an RPG, it'd be like Pokemon. There'd be 151 types of bread that would all have their own individual characteristics. But you can only get the 151st type of bread by pushing a special truck on the dock. I know because my friend's dad works at Nintendo.
almost there.
All security personnel, report to the stem room.
I hope this works, Myra.
Damn, ace shot. The weather where you're baking, that's true too. Elevation has and air pressure, all that actually has an impact on bread too.
What are you doing, kid? Your actions will only result in your death. You must know this.
You had such potential. You could have amassed such power. And now you choose to throw it all away. Why? After all you've seen, all you've done, why the crisis of conscience now?
Is it for the detective?
For the child?
No. It's for me.
Think about what you're doing, kid.
Not gonna lie, I knew she was gonna say that.
Imagine it.
And it's like the most
A
It's the overused point. Is it for this? Is it for this? No, it's for me.
No more wars. No more disparity. No more pain.
The eyes look really good on these models, more than like the face of Sebastian. Like Bad Guy and Kidman look really good, and Sebastian just looks kind of like rough. Exactly, I was thinking the same thing for England, James.
I hope you were right, Myra.
No, for me. I loved Pierce Brosnan's Bond. I just weep that they gave him so many cheesy one-liners to say. He's so much better than that.
I've got her. Where do I go?
Still, I really enjoyed. I loved GoldenEye, as campy as it is, and I really like Tomorrow Never Dies.
Why?
Everything else was kind of meh.
Okay. We don't have much time.
It's like Daniel Craig. I like Daniel Craig, but they just don't, in my opinion, write him enough good stuff to use. Like, he's better than the stuff he's being given. Like, Casino Royale was so damn
Don't worry,
good.
Lily. We're
A lot of
almost
people
there.
love Skyfall. I thought Skyfall was kind of boring. We have to leave before the Halo ring destroys itself.
God.
Now, it's okay to have one-liners on Bond. Bond needs to have one-liners, especially when he kills a dude. But you, like, not every single other line needs to be a one-liner. Come on, man. Yeah, see? If we were in Lily the truck, this would have been over. He would just have been like, bam. Collapsing reality, not a problem. Not in my Lincoln.
We're gonna be home soon.
The fact that he chose the kid over his truck, you know, he's a good dad.
It's not too late to stop this, kid. If you do, I promise to kill you quickly. Otherwise, the punishment for your betrayal will be legendary.
I'm going to be legendary, all right.
Become legend.
Legendary for taking you down. A world without choice isn't a utopia.
He's so unimpressed at that
My
play
mind
on
only works
words.
for the queen that controls it. Join us or die? Well, guess what? There's a third choice. And that's fuck you!
You are foolish! But oddly
You cannot win, Kidman. I have the high ground.
It's a shame to have to lose you like this, kid.
Allow me to pull up my BlackBerry.
What? You thought that I was just flying by the seat of my pants here? I took my chip out 3 days ago.
No matter! You'll die today. One way or another.
Come on, Sebastian. We're almost out of time.
Is it from Sykes? It'd be cool as if this is collapsing and Tatiana's doing her nails, like in the background. She just kind of waves goodbye.
Lily. Sebastian. I love you both. Now you'll be safe.
We are moving very quickly.
You knew you would.
Yeah, I know. She took his truck in the end. How typical. She kept the house, she kept the truck, didn't want the kid. Smug Myra knew what she was doing the entire time. Does this mean that Sykes also dies? Because Sykes, I don't think, took his chip out. Oh, he made it.
Take it easy, Sebastian. You're safe now.
Lily. Where's Lily?
I need your help getting her out. Stand over there.
Thank God I got these milk-resistant pants.
Hurry!
And his Jeep pops out. That'd be so good.
Dad? Is it really you?
Yes, Lily. It's really me.
I was having worse nightmares.
Shh. I know, Lily. But you're awake now. The nightmare's over. There's nothing to be scared of anymore.
We need DLC where after your wife chooses to stay behind, she becomes the core, and we go back in to get our truck back.
It really is over. Thanks to Myra. Come on. Let's get the hell out of here.
Oh, and that's credits. Developed by Tango Gameworks. Published by Bethesda / now Xbox. Alright. Story by Seoji Ishamine. Lily looks more like Kidman's daughter than your wife's. I know, right? Wink, wink. Oh, there's probably a licensed song playing. Whatever. If this gets silenced by Twitch, so be it. I'm recording it separately anyway. Take that. Remember, if I get banned, I'm just gonna stream on YouTube. Dumbass, unfiltered, uncensored chaos aside. Anyway, enough about Brett. Nanako, so nice of you to join us. You just came in right when we beat the game. This is the finale, like we said. By the way, I am working on that other thing now, slowly in the background. I still gotta finish Nier Automata, but I am working on that other thing. Let's see. 3F's time, you got that right. I call it my trifecta. Awesome one. It's my personal trifecta. I have my tier list ratings, and then I have my trifecta, which is two separate things, because I don't think how good you think a game is necessarily tied to what score you give it. Like, you're allowed to like games that aren't very good, and you're allowed to hate games that are generally considered very well done. I think it's okay. I think that all that's permitted. Alright. Where do we start? So overall impressions. I can say, I don't want to start negative, but I have to lead that my overall attitude about this game is that it's a completely different approach from the first Evil Within. It is very different. Like, I went in the beginning thinking it was going to be very similar, like they were going to make a sequel that was, you know, toe in line, step for step, very similar in the intensity, the attitude, the art design, the direction and pacing of it, and it... Oh god, this is a commercial they used in the commercials. I remember this used to play on the TV. You remember this, Shadows? I remember this song. Oh look, Square Enix did the motion capture. Square Enix is always doing the graphics for other people. That's all they care about. Anyway. It's like LucasArts. LucasArts does a lot of visual effects for a lot of different smaller studios. It's kind of, if you look closely, you see their credits in a lot of games. But anyway, the direction and attitude and tone of this game is different. It starts off making you think that it's going to be very much like a psychotic nightmare, like the first one was, very psychological horror alongside the visual horror. But this game doesn't really go in that direction. It doesn't do that. Industrial Light and Magic. Thank you. Do they not still go under LucasArts? I don't know. I'm of the mind that scores are completely personal opinions and they're meaningless. They are personal opinions. That is absolutely true. Meaningless? It depends. It really depends. Because they do serve a purpose, but for the most part, you can take them or leave them. And it's just simply a personal attitude of reception. Let's see. Because if I were to relate it to a recent example, it's kind of like how I talked about Shadow Hearts early on, how Kadoka is about survival horror and Shadow Hearts is much more about the occult, and it's not necessarily horror. It's just an RPG about the occult with a lot of mysticism and a lot of folklore that goes behind that. This is very similar. The very first game was about psychological horror. Very intense visuals, very nightmare-inducing situations, a lot of unknown, fearful things that could happen. Like, there were a lot of instances and situations where I remember it being very tense. There were a lot of situations that specifically added a lot of very stressful, uncomfortable situations. A lot of creatures that were very bizarre, unknown perhaps in some cases. Like, I still remember that one level where you had to cross the water, and there's this crazy lurking monster that you never quite see, but will basically drag you under and murder you if you stay in the water too long. That always terrified me, because I hate that shit in real life too. That always stuck with me. And this one's a lot more of like a very bizarre adventure, I guess you could say, because it starts off and there's a lot of crazy things that go around and horrible things happen to people, but a lot of it's just a lot of big people creating a lot of mooks that you just end up mowing through. And so it's a little bit more action-oriented, even though we played most of it through stealth. We're basically stepping aside into an area where it didn't focus so much on the overt horror and not even the subtle horror. It was just kind of like spooky monsters and, you know, murder or sneak past them. That's kind of what was going on, because they were just obstacles at this point in a manner that didn't necessarily... It was the purpose of entertaining game design more so than actually inducing a seed of fear, per se. It didn't explore those concepts. This was more a story about Sebastian and I think it kind of continued that way. I think there's unresolved aspects to this story. I can see why people have asked for an Evil Within 3. I could absolutely see the story being continued on in some manner. So I like this one, but I also dislike it for different reasons. I'd have to say the first one's overall stronger. This one's good. Not as good as the first one, but good enough to where, like, I like it and I'm having fun. But I'm having fun, you know? Like, I can be so chill and talk about bread. While in the first game, I remember there were so many times where I just had to take breaks because my heart's pounding. There's so many situations and scenarios where it's just getting in your head and playing on it. While in this one, they play a lot of there's a lot of things that ended up being predictable. I think that's what killed a lot of the pacing in this game, is that there are a lot of situations, scenarios, and just stuff where, like, this is blatantly a video game. It wasn't trying to be a living nightmare like the first one. This one was basically trying to be an interesting video game with interesting visuals. Although, like I said in the very beginning, they clearly toned down all of the visuals in this versus the first one. The first one, they went in hard. And this one, not as much. They toned it down. And that really did change the pace a little bit. That's the tough part about horror in games. Fear isn't necessarily fun. Yes and no. Because fear is a different thing for everyone. It's like eating spicy food. Like, some people hate spicy food. They hate the concept of it. Sometimes people hate the flavor of it. Sometimes people hate the heat of it. Because spicy isn't just flavor and heat. It's sometimes the mixture of both. Some people like the heat aspect more than the flavor aspect. Some people want the flavor, not necessarily the heat. And some people want to balance of both, and some people hate either. It's the exact same concept. Where people get addicted to spicy food when you start eating it is because when you're inducing that pain, your brain releases those chemicals that induce that pleasure to counteract it, and so you feel that rush every time you eat spicy food. If it literally, your brain feels good. And fear is that same sort of way, where it triggers a response in one way by pressing one button, and your body will react in a different way to counteract it, and the mix of that emotion is what ends up that satisfaction in the end. Sometimes you feel more alive when you're being threatened. So, that's why horror is a very complex thing, because some people like their horror to be suspenseful. Some people like their horror to be shock, like, you know, jump scares. Like, so a lot of people dismiss those, but there are some people where that's the best way of doing it, is startling somebody. Just jumping around a corner saying boo is what they want. They want a quick boo. Some people like the psychological horror aspect of it. Some people like the relatability of perhaps making a more grounded horror story, so that way even when you're done with the subject material, it still lingers in your mind like an actual nightmare. Horror is complex like anything else, like comedy. Oh, he got the Jeep! He got the Jeep! Lily 2.0. This is the true ending. The happy ending. Sebastian discovered what was truly important in his life. Look at him drive away in his Lincoln. Are we gonna get a cliffhanger? We did it, guys. We saved Lily. Which Lily? The one that matters, obviously. You know, this game could have done without a stinger, but since we're here. What did that mean? What was that end of that? Theory crafters, tell me what that signified. Did that signify Myra became the core and was reactivating STEM? New game plus. Classic mode. 40k. Appreciate it. Good setting, by the way. Ooh, nice deep blue. I like that. I wouldn't wear a black tie with that, though. But it still looks good. The Drifter outfit. It looks like some Alan Wake looking thing. You got the Magnum. Oh, they don't give you a Magnum this entire time. Good to know. Oh, the letterboxing. If you want to be like Evil Within 1. Awesome, when I'm just here for the bread. I'm with you. But yeah, horror is like bread. There is such a variety and nuance if you actually examine it that, you know, you could argue one bread is better than the other for how you want, but that's just you explaining to everybody, hey, I have personal tastes and different things appeal to it. So what? That's not exactly poignant. Anyway, let's take a look at the, let's just go down the usual, like a deep cut. So, aesthetics. The aesthetics of this game changed thematically with whatever we were currently fighting, and I think that was appropriate. The usage of the citizens of Union was less important. For example, like having, what was his name, Valentino be like the boss for like the first half of the game, and ended up just kind of him just being a mook, kind of fell flat. It looked like they were trying to essentially retread the same ground as the first one, and then it turns out, surprise, that's not actually it. It turns out there's a cult behind it. But surprise, it's not a cult, it's actually a coup. Surprise, it's not quite a coup, it's actually a double agent. Plot went in different ways. I think adding some complexity to it didn't help it, but didn't hinder it either. The enemy design was okay. I didn't love most of the designs. Like, the basic Goop Zombie, not really fan of it. The Ashton one, not really fan of it. The Fire Bros, I didn't like them. Like, there were so many just dudes. They were just dudes. Wasn't really a fan of it. The bizarre ones were kind of cool. Like, I think my favorite monster in all of this game was probably the weird fused triple body dog thing. Like, that thing I think looked appropriate, like something straight out of The Thing, which is one of my favorite character monster designs out there. Anything that kind of reminds me of that, I really love it. Like the throwback boss battles to the previous game was kind of a cool nod. It was nice to see those again. I'm gonna have to look up some of the lore, but whatever happened to the Ghost Lady? How is she such an influence throughout most of the game, and it ends up nothing ended up happening from that? I was so convinced that was going to be Lily. Like, that was some representation of Lily. And it's just nothing happened. I feel that the art direction was a little less focused here. And I think a lot of it hurt. But they kind of made a lot of the enemies kind of be kind of like video game enemies. And so it was kind of intended to be a little bit more entertaining, more so than, holy shit, this is nightmare fuel. Or, wow, how bizarre and creepy this thing looks. Like the crazy zombie dog. Like, I think that was the coolest looking thing here. Having the body parts assemble into Buzzsaw Lady was kind of cool, but they kind of immediately wore her out when they started repeating her as a semi-appearing boss. Whenever that happens, I don't think it's good to use it necessarily in like a horror setting where like, oh, that giant boss you just fought, turns out it's a regular enemy now. It's like, don't do that. Other than that, I mean, it's meant to look like a regular small town. It looked like a regular small town. I think it worked. Some of the most interesting stuff in this game was stuff that is on the side. Like in the first part, especially chapter 3, which clearly they front loaded a lot of this game into chapter 3 and 4, a lot of this, and they kind of metered it out for the rest of it. In chapter 3, there were so many houses and areas we went into that just had an air of suspense in them, and approaching it very cautiously, and they would result in a lot of very disorienting hallucinations, questioning of what was real or not. Very, very good visual work with like, wow, we're creating a very interesting, we're doing something interesting visually to convey the bizarreness of this world of nightmare and imagination. I don't feel they weighed enough in on that, because the most interesting stuff was stuff that was off the beaten path in chapter 3. And some of it was also kind of questioning too, where it's like, at one time we rescued a lady. It's like, we rescued one lady. It's like, are there other people that are surviving? Should I do another sweep around the town? What's going on here? Sometimes there were smaller stories that were appreciated, like the fallen vain attempts of people trying to survive, or the fallen Mobius soldiers. I think those were kind of interesting, but again, they were mostly on the side. Pursuing the side quests, and sometimes was more interesting than the main quest in this game. Let's see. Characters. So, we're reintroduced to a lot of it. I don't feel they did the best job of reintroducing us to characters that have, hey, Noel, how's it going? Yep, we just finished the game. We're doing final impressions right now. Sebastian, I felt they could have done more with him gaining confidence and becoming more immune to the effects of the town. Was an interesting angle for his development, but that's basically it. It's just Sebastian became a broken man at the end of the events. Years happened. What he thought was truth was in fact a lie. He comes back, he gets his truck, and then his daughter, and then his truck again. And that's mostly it. We discover his wife is kind of alive, and then he tries to convince her, and that doesn't happen, and he leaves her again. It happens all very quickly. A lot of it's very, I don't want to say ham-fisted, but it goes a little too smooth. Like, believe in yourself, Mira, and then she kind of believes in herself a little bit. And then she becomes a monster, and then you kill the monster. And then it's like, believe in yourself some more, but do it better this time. And then she does. ZG Westside. Hello, bots. Let's see. I thought Lily wasn't she was the motivator for the story, but she in herself wasn't interesting. Like, Lily and Myra's story just wasn't super compelling to me. It was purpose for Sebastian to care, but it wasn't purpose for me, the player, to care. I don't feel they conveyed that well enough. Let's see. How was the level design? That's a good question. So the level design they went with, they made a chapter structure. And the chapters are either very straightforward linear levels that are meant to be just levels and stages, very similar to the first one. And there are 2 times across 4 chapters where it's a more open environment. Using open world isn't the correct term, it's just an open environment. The second one was smaller than the first, but the amount of stuff that you could do in those worlds was fairly limiting. It's obvious that they didn't have it where the enemies respawned, thank God, although they could sort of respawn in the second one with the Fire Bros, because otherwise you'd be able to farm infinite materials. But the overall town of Union itself during those levels was okay. They had just enough areas that you can go into, enough doors that weren't locked, to enter into. Side areas, like I said, were somewhat more interesting parts. Many of angles, like being out in the open, created a good threat of exposure, which I liked. The usage of cover was also fairly okay. It felt natural and organic for the most part. It didn't feel like this is a video game cover-based level. Now, during the linear levels, like when we were in the fiery El Fuego Ironworks, that absolutely felt like a video game level. all the parts that were like the Valentino arc was the most interesting part of this game. When we went to the Theodore arc, it felt like a straight up video game. It wasn't about like the scares, it wasn't about the horror, it wasn't about the thrill, the suspense. It wasn't even necessarily about the overall plot and motivating factor. It was straight up either I felt like they could have been shooter alleys, but I of course went with a stealth route, but even then it was because I maxed out stealth at that point, it really kind of exposed the limitations of the normal leveled AI. And so it just became a stabbing rally for me. But either way, like all those levels were just artificially constructed to be video game levels. And they did video game things like, oh, you grab this thing, the body that's next to it comes alive. How many times did you hear me say, this guy's going to jump alive? And 4 out of 5 times I'd be right. I liked some of the visual ideas. However, a lot of them just, in my opinion, just felt contrived. Like, the theming of all the art cases and what Valentino was doing for his art was tied into the levels that he was in, and that made that theming stronger. The theming of Theodore was just, I use fire, and my monster people have fire, and the level has fire in the background. Sometimes you gotta turn a wench. And that's it. There wasn't anything super interesting about that. And then when it became the final part with Mira, it's like, I use goopy milk people and sometimes wax people, but you're only here for one level. But I have an anima monster and you can't beat him, but I only use it once. It's like, I don't know. I thought since Valentino we would see more psychopaths for Sebastian Faith. I would have thought the same thing. It's like you're telling me Theodore, with his, I can speak the gospel and convert people to my way of thinking. Like, when he turned O'Neill, like, okay, that was cool. I really wish they didn't make the flamethrower dudes, like, I wish they didn't make 4 more of him. I wish that was an isolated thing, because it really downplayed O'Neill. But, like, he can convert people. Like, it was... I felt they mishandled so many of the supporting cast here. Like, we said this before, but Torres was just thrown away. She was thrown in and then thrown away. They didn't do anything interesting with her. I'm trying to remember what psychologist lady. It began with an H, like Holloway or something like that. But all the side waifus, gone, wasted. Sykes, we don't even know what the hell happened with that. We have like 3 whole side quests of him trying to get out, but we don't know what happens. I think his head must have popped when Kidman sent the virus. The first 2 dudes just died because they just need to explain why Valentino's such a bad guy. Which, by the way, I do appreciate. I always appreciate when a game shows instead of tells. And they did that with the Valentino arc, but then they don't do it during the Theodore arc, which again hurts it, because Theodore's like, Theodore can do all these sort of crazy things, and he is doing crazy things, but we're not really going to show, we're just going to talk to you about it. But Valentino, you see him do all those terrible things and exploit the expanded rule set of being inside STEM. But yeah, Sykes got out, but remember, Sykes still had a chip in his head, and everybody who had a chip in their head got their heads blown up. So unless he got out and also got his chip out, he's dead. Unless he hacked the chip in his head. You know, that could have happened. I would imagine in Evil Within 3, he's just like, yeah, I hacked the chip when I was waiting for you. Okay, sure. Why not? Let's see. Dialogue wasn't so interesting with some of the side things. Like, it didn't feel like I was having a conversation. You know, it wasn't super interesting. It was just, here's a little bit of lore, and here's the reason why I'm not helping you or doing any more than I am currently doing. I like the concept of the marrow, though. Like, I like that pseudoscience behind it. That was kind of cool. We still don't know what happened to Leslie from the front. Oh, that's a good point. I forgot about that. Dropped people, dropped plot points. I felt this game had a lot of people that had potential to work with and didn't deliver. So it was inconsistent writing on these characters. Pacing was pretty good, though. One thing that this game did very well for the game design perspective was pacing. even on the chapters where I chose to stay longer and do all the side quests, except for chapter 4, which I kind of regret, I like that. I like that there was enough stuff to do on the side. I kind of, in it was balanced to where I felt that if I did the side stuff, I came back stronger. If I didn't do the side stuff, I still could have gotten through those situations just okay. I liked that. That was good. Weapons were also pretty okay. Like, you have your standard tier of this is useless all the way to this is god tier. Like, once again, the crossbow is the MVP. Like, let's be for real. It's always been the MVP. Even more so now. The learning curve on the stealth system and cover system, though, was rough in the beginning. But then when we started improving our stealth and understanding how cover worked, once we got past that learning curve, fine. The levels themselves didn't really feel too long in the most case. There were some chapters that kept going and I was surprised, but for the most part, there weren't too many. There was like 1 or 2 where it felt like it went over very quickly and not too much happened. Like chapter 17, I think somewhere in the middle, like chapter 12? Something like that, 11 or 12. The locations and sites we went to were supposed to be based on modern day, like the theater, the hotel, the townscape. So while they weren't the most interesting to look at Nightmarescapes, they felt okay. Seeing more distress of people, or perhaps horrible things happening to people, other than monsters kind of patrolling around, would have been a little bit more interesting. Just not really a criticism, just an observation. What else? Music. Music was interesting present during the latter chapters and not really so much in the former. There was backing sounds, there was okay audio design, but inconsistent. I think on the weaker side. Do you think this game has a lot of missed opportunities? I do. I think this game has a bunch of missed opportunities. You think, after all, Sebastian did to save his daughter to make her wear a seatbelt. I know, right? She also just kind of goes with the flow. It's like, wow, where's mommy? It's like, it doesn't matter. Okay, and that's it. It's like, okay, what? Once you got the upgrades, the gunplay felt okay. Sebastian, of course, is incredibly sluggish. This game tried to have survival elements, and other than having caps on things, I didn't feel that it was so much survival. It was just kind of like an action game that had survival limitations on it. It didn't feel like as much as a survival game the first one, where you really had to make choices on, like, do I use these matches? Do I create this Molotov? Is this thing worth this bullet? Can I just get past here without alerting anybody? Even on normal difficulties, it was very intense the entire way through. You really had to weigh your resources. I didn't feel that much in this game. I didn't really feel stretched for that. And like I said, it's not cool in a way to broadcast, hey, there's a boss room coming up, so here's a save point and here's a pile of resources. If they had done something interesting with that, such as, I don't know, some sort of little impish person deliberately dropping off supplies to help you as like a pseudo way of helping you inside STEM, I would have been okay with that. There was an in-game explanation, but the fact they just dropped it off there is like, this is a video game, there's a boss right behind the save point, and that's exactly how it was. It just didn't feel inspired. It was very predictable and generic at this point. What else can we talk about? I have to say, other than the first bit of learning curve and the shenanigans which sometimes this game would play where it just straight up cheats. Like, alright, if you don't want to program AI, don't just have enemies spawn out of nothing, or they deliberately run to where I am, yet they have no reason to do so. Shenanigans like that kind of annoy me. I don't like that. At least it didn't do a boss rush per se at the very end. It did do that one where, it recapped the bosses for the first one, but that felt playful like a nod. I have to say, though, if you didn't play the first game, that would have been very bewildering. It's like, who the hell are these people? That's so weird. What the hell is this? What are these three, like, what's Chainsaw Dude, a guy with a metal head and a mallet, and this crazy multi-armed hair lady? What is going on? That would have been very bewildering. It was very out of context. It helps if, you know, you play the first game, but that they didn't do anything much to onboard people from not playing the first game to this game. Like, even the whole thing with Kidman and Evil Mobius, like, they didn't do much. They just kind of assumed you knew the lore. They assumed you knew this going in. That's sloppy storytelling. You don't have to have it the maid and butler talk where, like, one soldier turns to another soldier and is like, hey, so how do you like working for Mobius, this huge international corporation that controls blah blah blah? Like, people don't talk like that. That's not natural dialogue. But there are ways to incorporate that world setting. I just don't feel the world building was very strong in this game. Bit of a step back, because the world building was very strong. Like, Beacon was much more well developed and introduced in the first game than her Union was here. Did I feel like the developers are trying to play it safe with this game? So that's just it, Silver Gear. I'm kind of not reading vibes on what the motivation was for this game. Like, were they trying to make it where... Again, this is just where it's like, it's in that same era of the Bethesda overlording, where Bethesda started, like, seeping their fingers into more of their stuff, like how they ruined, like, Wolfenstein Youngblood, from how good the first couple of Wolfensteins were done by that studio, and then Youngblood is mysteriously goopy and gross. Like, how did they go from something so good to such a step back? And I can't help but, like, you know, Fallout, of course, and Elder Scrolls, like, and I feel even this, it's like, I feel like they kind of sunk their fingers in whatever overlording decisions, and I just feel like it's an external thing. Now, I'm going to blame the people who made this game for decisions that were made, but I just can't shake it, because there were other projects under that umbrella that, you know, face the same sort of pattern, and I can't help but suspect that there might have been some influence outside the game devs who were just seeking their fingers in and downplaying this and incorporating certain things or targeting it to a certain audience. An audience that didn't necessarily want a psychological survival horror game like the first game. He wanted something that was a little bit more mainstream, a little bit more gunplay or stealth gameplay, crafting options that were more expanded and oriented towards weapons, you know, things like that. A little bit more moderate pace, where, like, the monsters, instead of having some sort of AI like the first ones where they would search, like, I remember that, like, if you tried outrunning monsters in the first one, you'd have to, like, hide under beds or behind barrels and just pray. They would pursue you, and they did so very intelligently. In this one, if you just kind of walk outside, they look around, shrug their shoulders, and just walk back to their patrol. Like, it is... It just feels like they took step backs, and I don't think they went into this game intending to take steps back. I don't know who to point the finger at, but it just seems awfully suspicious to me. This game seemed way less punishing. Oh, that's another thing too. Yeah, this game is so generous with its checkpoints. There were a couple times where, like, it was slightly inconvenient, but only slightly. It was punishing in the first one. You felt those losses. This game was very, very accommodating, and I don't think that necessarily helped its theming a little bit. At the same time, it allowed it to do a lot more. Like, whenever they introduce more checkpoints in a modern game, they do so with the intention of creating more set piece moments where you enter this thing and this crazy thing happens, and after doing all that work, we auto save so that way you don't have to do it again if you die. Fair. But I don't know. I don't feel it helped the pacing of this game. Overall, the gameplay was still fun, though. I know it sounds like I'm dumping on it, but I felt it was overall pretty good. I enjoyed it. It felt very chill for a good bit there. Once we got the hang of things and I got some skill trees maxed out, we were just chilling and talking about bread. Cinematics. This was a much more I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just misremembering. But this seemed like a lot more cinematic than the first one. which is funny because the last one had bigger set piece moments, like a giant monster chasing you down through the city while you're in the back of a vehicle blowing it up with shit. You know, that just seems over the top and actiony, and you didn't have anything like that over here, you could argue. But you also didn't have chases as much. Like in the first area, like the buzzsaw lady chases you down towards an elevator. There were chase scenes that were intense. Like the wall in the first game, it would slip out, the wall would be full of saws, or like the areas would flip around and become twisty-turvy, or like the camera angle would switch. They were creative things to invoke a sense of tension. And they just didn't do as much over here. I don't know. There were a couple of times where I saw glimpses of that. Where like, oh, that was such a cool way to shoot that angle. Like, wow, that was a really great way to show something unexpected. But I just felt they played it too safe overall. I don't know, I think that's all I can really say about it overall. Unless anybody else has any other questions. I think we'll get into Trifecta. Alright, so Trifecta. Was this game more predictable compared to the first one? Yes. Just without even a doubt in my mind, yes. There were so many times I was surprised pleasantly, or my expectations were subverted in some way in the first one, if my memory recalls. I could be glossing over this. Glistening over this. Maybe so. But yeah. Maybe I'm misremembering it. Maybe it's a bit more fairly treated in my mind. But from the way I remember the first one, I do remember those emotions. I don't remember being able to call things so reliably in the first one. Oh, another thing that helped with that predictability too is the fact that they changed all the corpses to distinctly be monster corpses or normal people corpses. If it was a monster corpse, it had a good chance of coming alive and being triggered by something in the room. If it was a normal person corpse, then I had nothing to fear. They would never animate, they would never turn into a monster, that nothing would happen. And that really set apart the tension in some rooms, because you walk around and see a bunch of dead bodies, like, okay, they're normal people, there's no threats here. But if they introduced an element where anybody could reanimate or turn into either a goop monster, or later they did the thing where the fire pits could spawn fire bros, if they did something like that more reliably, where I couldn't predict which bodies were dormant and which bodies were bait and which bodies were actually just bodies, if they were able to keep me guessing, then this game would be so different. I would be paranoid at all the bodies. Which, by the way, shenanigans for not being able to attack bodies. That is shenanigans. I don't like that. Out of all the video game things you do in this, I don't like that. Hit detection was also wonky. There were so many times hit detection was so questionable here. So many times. First one didn't give you a save point and ammo before every boss, and you weren't always sure if you were supposed to fight or run. Very true. That's exactly how I remember that too. And yeah, sometimes the game did put you in unwinnable situations. Like, we rocked Laura. The Laura fight took me so many retries in the first one, I remember, before figuring out, oh, you're supposed to trap her and time her inside a furnace that you have to activate somewhere else, and that none of your shit works except for fire. And this one, I'm like, cool, firebolt, and flamethrower, or sniper rifle a couple times. It's like, okay, that was done in like 2 minutes. Sometimes she got a slash off on me, whatever. Also, even though we never used it, crafting on the go is also a factor. The fact that you can craft anything, even healing items on the go. And we were just lush with healing items, because I think we maybe took a stealth route. We were so lush on healing items. Anyway, the Trifecta, if you are not familiar, is a balance between being fun, fascinating, and fulfilling. So, first question we ask is, was this game fun? Yes. In the beginning, I wasn't necessarily having a great time because of the learning curve, but in the end, I was having fun for most of this game. I enjoyed it. This was a fun game. Was this game fascinating? Not very much. The story they wanted to tell, continuing the story gap from the first game, I don't feel ended up being as interesting as it could have been. There were a lot of gaps in the writing, a lot of elements that were not used. I don't feel the storytelling was very strong in this game. I almost kind of wish that they drafted it back to go back and be like, all right, let's rework this script. And there's not too much to talk about. Like, yeah, you could speculate the very end. We could speculate about some of the gaps and other purposes, like, say, the Ghost Lady and stuff like that. And sure, maybe you can go into symbolism if you really want to, but a lot of it was pretty on the nose, to be honest with you. There isn't too much to really discuss here after we're done here. I feel like this is one of those games where you're done with, and you just kind of move on with the rest of your life onto something else. This doesn't stick in my mind. And was this fulfilling? I'd have to lean on yes. I'm glad I played this game. Did it make me a better player in any way? Yes and no. I already employed skills that I was using elsewhere. Tactics, at least were intuitive. There weren't really too many bosses where I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know if what I'm doing is working. The visual and the gameplay feedback was okay for the most part. Some enemies I would think were better than others, but I don't feel a lot of it was unmanageable. I felt this game was worth the playthrough if you liked the first game, but at the same time, if you liked the first game, I don't know how many people would say the second game was better. They tried a few different things, they went a different direction, but a lot of the direction they went in I think was just weak. A lot of stuff they tried though, I mean they tried it and I think it worked as intended. So I'm not going to say it's bad because of those elements. They designed an element and it worked as intended, therefore it's functional. We can't slam it being like, oh, this is broken or this was dumb. No, it worked as intended. Like, I chose all stealth and I poured all of my stuff and saved everything into upgrading the crossbow into all stealth. I did that early. I did that based on, prior gameplay knowledge of how I played the first one. And as a result, we got Flame Bolt super early, which really minimized a lot of bosses and neutralized a lot of enemies in general, and we were able to just exploit to the max all the stealth situations where it just almost seemed ludicrous, like I'm just making fun of it, but I'm not. We spent effort and time and disciplined ourselves to do that, and it worked as intended. If I put all that effort in and I got jack shit, then I would have been upset. Silver Gear, it's a one and done game. I kind of feel that way. Like, I'm not super inspired to play this through for completion. I would if I didn't have anything else to do. Like, I feel like I would have fun going through and like, oh, now I have a Magnum and now I have my resources and I can just kind of chill out and have fun with this game. But you're fighting the same zombie dudes and there's nothing much else to look forward to other than completion. Like, if I played through the game and maybe there were different chapter elements or you would see new things or perhaps there was a story choice that impacted something, like, I really thought us helping Sykes would have impacted the ending in some way. Like, oh, you created a back door, bring Lily here. I thought that maybe would have opened up something like, oh, if you didn't do that, if you didn't help Sykes, then you have to do this other thing instead. It just, nothing had consequences. It does feel like a one and done game. But I am still glad I played it. If you like this is one of those where it solely hinges on your relationship. I can't recommend Evil Within 2 in a vacuum. I would be like, play Evil Within, and if you like it, play the sequel. Sequel's okay, but go ahead and play it. If there's a third game, you're probably going to want to play this because it seems like they're not going to do you any favors with the overall storyline for this timeline. So, fun, yes. Fascinating, not really. Fulfilling, yes, for the most part. So where does that put us for our rankings? If you recall, I use a tier system. C is the starting point, which is average, and it moves up from B, which is above average, A, which is excellent, D, below average, F is a failure. And within those, we have pluses and minuses. We're like, it could be average, but it could be the strong side of average. It could be above average, but only weakly so. And we want to evaluate this as a whole, not just as a, how this game was in general, but how is this game in the greater relativity of, like, say, itself and its own legacy, within its own genre. It has to be relative. Not just for the merits that it is. You have to look at the merits and the demerits. So where do we feel this game fell? Do we feel that this was an average, survival horror action game? Was this above average in any way? Was this like full of elements that like, wow, this is a step above most run-of-the-mill survival horror action games? Or the elements individually done, the sum of its parts result in that package? Or perhaps weakly so, or perhaps is it below average and you're like, wow, it's like it tried and it stumbled in so many directions. Personally, I feel this is a C, like a straight up C. Because for every one good thing that I can bring up an equally off-putting thing that it just didn't do very well. It didn't cut a new cloth in any given direction. There was nothing revolutionary, didn't push the envelope on anything. And whatever it did present, while it was functional, I wouldn't call it exceptionally well polished. And even then, the stumbling blocks that it had, while inconsistent, I don't feel any of them were game-breaking. None of them made me want to stop playing the game, where I was just flatly not having fun. Getting over the learning curve is just like any other game. And we were able to do that by like the third chapter. I feel this is solidly a C. A very average game. If I were to retroactively review The Evil Within, I would probably put it at a B-. I think The Evil Within is one of the best survival horror games made in the last gen. Because remember, it's last gen. Actually, it's before that. It's retro. It came out in like the 360 PS3 era, so yeah. Evil Within, I think, is one of the better modern-day retro survival horror games. So, I thoroughly recommend it. Like, to me, if you like survival horror in the vein of... I always tell people, it was Silent Hill mixed with Resident Evil 4. If that sounds appealing to you, then enjoy it. And this one I would just say is kind of like, if you like the first one, you want to continue the story and the characters, play it. Otherwise, pass it. It was cross-gen? It was cross-gen. But because it came out on that retro, old-ass 360 PS3, I mean, who even was around when those systems came out? Nobody here was alive when those games came out. They came out like literally 100 years ago. It came out literally last century. It was unplayable on PS3 and 360. I don't know. I actually, when it came out, I did get it on PlayStation 4. I didn't play it on PS3 or 360, so I have no idea how it performed. But if you tell me it chugged, I believe it. Play it for Jeep Lily. Honestly, Silvergear, yeah, exactly right. If you care enough about the continuity of this game series, you gotta at least experience saving Jeep Lily for yourself. I felt Jeep Lily tied the overall motivation together. I didn't expect it. I didn't expect that plot twist, but I think it was the most wholesome ending, and I feel it ended on such a high note. You saw the smile on Sebastian's face. Look at that satisfaction. You can't get that driving just any old SUV. You can only get that when you're driving a Lincoln. But, yeah, see. Good game. I had fun. Can't necessarily recommend it to everyone. Do I want to see a third one? Yes, I do. Absolutely, I want to see a third one. But I want to see a third one taken in the more focused direction of the first game. Perhaps keep it to those linear levels where each one is meticulously designed and having purpose with its flow. If you can do that, lean a little bit more on that, baby, oh, we're talking good stuff here. And make sure the writing is good, alright? We need to fundamentally have that. Don't just put shit in because it'd be fun for a video game to have. Have purpose. Have purpose like that first game. Because the first game invoked dread when you were fighting things. You don't have to be shooting dudes in the face and it's like, there's blood everywhere, splatter, splatter. Nah, like you saw the inevitable. Like I loved like the very first moment you're facing one of those zombie things and you're shooting in the head, and like even parts of its head cave away, and it's like, oh, I'm sorry, you thought this was a regular zombie game where shooting him in the head did shit? Yeah, check yourself. This is Evil Within. I loved it. You had to be smart. You had to be tactical, you had to be resourceful. I liked how the first game commanded those of you. The second game, it's more freeform. You can play it more action if you want, you can play it more stealth if you want. But I felt making those accommodations that we had to pay the price in a lot of our level design and enemy design. But yeah, I think we're pretty much done right here. I managed to talk for... We talked like 20 minutes about Bread. And I think we talked another 35 minutes on the ending. Not bad. We didn't go into a rant. Would you prefer new characters in the third game or returning characters? Ooh, that's a good question. I would prefer it to be Kidman. Kidman actually stars in the third game. Because at this point, she's the only one leaving with a strong motivator. Sebastian can appear in STEM as like an illusion, kind of like Tatiana, where he's just an essence there, but he's not really there. He's just there to make her believe in Kingdom Hearts. But I think it should be Kidman's journey for destroying Mobius. Like, let's be real. Just because I had one STEM facility, you know there's a fucking Site B. There's always a Site B. There's always a prototype lab. And you saw at the end, something's coming alive. So, the only person who would have that sort of vendetta or that motivation would be Jill Valentine coming back in, guns blazing. I don't want them to make it necessarily like action like her small segments here, which is kind of cool, honestly. But if they can make it to where like she experiences the nightmare more so, that would be cool. Like the DLC, but the whole game. That would be cool. They don't have to do the whole I'm in a psycho killer's mind a third time. Oh, excuse me, yawn there. They don't have to do that. But do something interesting. I don't know. Be like, hey, this is a person who's in a coma, but this is the nightmare they're fulfilling. Turns out they have latent abilities to control STEM. And so you're experiencing someone who has no grasp of the real world, or perhaps like a young child's mind. That would have been cool. If you have a young child's mind, and they don't have moral flexibility, they just have a very whimsical, torturous, yet naive perspective of the world, like most children do. Just this innocent cruelty. Exploring that sort of aspect visually might be more interesting. If I was to make the third game. And release it exclusively on the Xbox Series X. Or the Xbox family of systems. And then 6 months later, I would release Spider-Man as DLC on my version. Did it just cut off? I don't think so. We're still going strong from what I can tell. Mic is still hot. But yeah. Alright, so... Oh wait, I think we did drop chat. That's weird. Alright, I think I see people coming back in. That was weird. I think it did cut off. I wonder why. I wonder how that happened. Anyway, this is a good time to cut off anyway. So, thank you everyone who joined on. Thank you everyone who stayed on chat. Thank you everyone who joined in the middle of it or on the side. And thanks so much for, Noel for helping out where you could. Umbra for jumping in as often as you did. Jtron for at least giving us a chance and taking a look at it. Nanako as always. Awesome one for coming in. Griffin, Shadows. Zaku, of course, helping out. Thank you so much for all your gift subs. You are freaking cool. Pizza for coming in. Well, I'm surprised they didn't join us tonight. But alright, I guess they're busy. Umbra, I think I didn't shout it out to you yet. But yeah. Silver Gear, of course, thank you for all your questions. And yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for joining on. So, I don't know what the next game we're going to be playing on Sunday is. I want to review my backlog to see if there's any Game of the Year candidates. We stream Split, it seems. Oh, okay. Well, the good news is that if you check the VOD, this will be one thing uploaded on OBM Plays. So, there's that. I don't know. According to, on my end, nothing hiccuped. But, then again, I'm recording locally, so hard to say. I do see that everyone dropped on chat. But, you know. Otherwise, thank you so much, Nautica, for updating me. Appreciate you. Otherwise, working on those recaps is normal. Oh yeah, has been up for 3 minutes. Damn, it did cut off. Oh well. Thanks, Twitch. I think it's like, you've been going on for so long, you're not entertaining. Get off the stage. Yeah. Alright. We'll be streaming something on Sunday. Don't know what it is just yet, but hope to see some of you guys in Discord. As always, follow on Twitter for more nonsense. Look forward to the next recap that I'm working on. Please support, by the way, any of the small projects. I know it's not necessarily the prime time, super huge, long form RPGs, but every little bit helps me. Thank you. And yeah, I'll see you guys on the next Battlefield. Thank you so much for watching.